Dateline special.
Well, she's in jail right now.
Yeah.
She's in custody, but he's not.
It looks like he's going to be.
Right.
And it's finally on something substantial.
Right.
And not just not answering questions like her.
Right. It's just weird to me.
It's nonsense.
Yeah, it's total nonsense.
Okay, so are you ready? Because there's like all of this is nonsense.
Right. So.
Like, how did they miss so much? The authorities I'm talking about.
So much.
So much.
Well, and because we've talked about stuff like this where it's like different agencies and not the interconnectedness, and they've been all over the place. They've been in Idaho, Arizona, Hawaii, California.
Okay, but I watched, first of all, I heard the 911 call when her brother died.
Right.
And then they have the actual footage of when Charles died.
Right.
And I watched 2 different versions of that, like probably from 2 different body cams and 2 different officers. And I'm like, how are they not just arrest him to, like, the story doesn't make much sense.
The brother?
Yeah, arrest you, question you. I've watched 48 Hours, that show, what is it called? The Next 48 or something, like where they solve a case in 48 hours, where they've had cases like that where it could be self-defense, but they still go through the motions of arresting somebody, interrogating them.
Yeah, that was really weird to me.
They didn't do any of that.
Yeah, that was really weird to me.
They talked to him on the curb and then talking to her, and
she had no
nothing.
Your husband. Okay, I don't care if you're estranged right now, but there has to be. You've been together since 2006.
Yeah,
there has to be
something. And from what everybody says, he treated her so good, better than any of the other.
But there was no emotion.
No.
Even like
she was joking.
Yeah. So okay, me in that position, even if there was no love lost, I would still feel maybe remorse, panicky that my brother might be in trouble. Right. There was nothing.
Like they had it so planned out.
Right.
Like his call to 911, he immediately says self-defense.
Right.
It was very scripted. And then her not being there, but they were there prior. And then even the daughter's response was like, I feel like she took her daughter for a drive to tell her, you better say this and don't react and don't cry. And if you do, same thing could happen to you.
So are we jumping right into this?
Like, we are. Okay. I think we need to tell the story.
Okay, yeah, because we got to start from the beginning.
Right.
All right. Hello, everybody. This is Tipsy Tales. Welcome to our show. We are talking about Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell, the case that's out there right now. Did you?
Yes.
So we already had started talking about this, and I started recording because I asked Carlene some questions, because we all know what Carlene does. And if you don't know what she does, she is a spiritual medium. And so I was asking her some questions prior to starting this whole episode, because I know we're going to probably revisit this in the future, and I want to be able to play that back. So you guys aren't going to hear the answers. So I know it's going to be kind of frustrating. You're not going to hear the answers this time, because that part I'm not putting in. I just wanted her to get like her take on this. And then we just started talking, so you're getting a
preview of what we'll probably repeat all that.
Yeah, we'll probably repeat all of it. So thanks for joining us. We're
going to be diving into some crazy shit.
Yeah, we're in day 10,565 of the quarantine.
Oh my God. And listen, if you live in Idaho, Arizona, California probably.
Right.
Or what was the other state? Utah.
Right. Yeah. Utah.
And
did you say Hawaii?
And Hawaii.
Yeah.
You've probably heard a lot about this case.
And I live in Arizona, and I didn't know
you
anything.
You didn't.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Thanks to Tiffany.
Thank you, Tiffany, for this story, because once I started getting into this, I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, I heard about it, and I watched the news segments and stuff like that, but I don't dive into that stuff. I just
See, and
anything that
this
has
made
to
me
do with
realize
hurting
how much I
kids.
don't really watch the local news. I'll pop in and out every once in a while, but I don't really get into it. And I honestly, contrary to popular belief, I don't watch a lot of TV. Like, we have our shows that we watch, but we don't have like the network stuff. So like, I really don't, unless it pops up on my feed somewhere and then I just jump into it or somebody mentions it, then I start, researching it. But yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah,
girl.
sorry, we are in the flypocalypse right now.
You're going to hear us say, "Get off my beer."
Yeah, there's like godzillion flies outside. Like, I don't know what is going on, but I've been seeing it on Nextdoor that all the neighbors are going through the same thing. So thank God it's not.
It's crazy.
My puppies and all their poop, which I pick up every day.
Yeah, it's not her puppies.
It's not my puppies.
I've never seen so many flies, though.
Right.
It's crazy.
So we're going to jump right into this. So let's start at the beginning.
Okay, so go. You want to tell it, or you want?
Well, I'm gonna let you, because you're super excited, and I know you've probably watched more of this than I have.
Well, we could just both. You
Yeah.
jump in if I'm missing something. I'll jump in if you're missing something, because we both have done a lot of research. Not to mention, if any of you watch Dateline, Friday's Dateline was about it, and also I guess they did a Dateline.
Yeah, a few weeks ago, which is that one I had watched, and then you told me about that one, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, because we were going to record Friday, but then we were like, wait, we need to watch this Dateline first.
Right.
So there's so many characters in this story, and it kind of weaves in and out, back and forth, and so just kind of bear with us, because...
So we'll start with Lori Vallow.
Well, yeah.
Or do you want to start with Chad?
No, I think we need to start, because they say, like, Lori is the common denominator.
Right.
But I think Chad is the puppet master.
You think so?
Yes.
I think this is a case of where you get these two personalities that converge and they form something else. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
This is like the sense that I'm getting out of it. Like, adding her to the recipe of Chad
Just
Daybell.
went like, well, it fed his ego.
Yeah.
And the two of them together. But, okay, so how about this? I'm going to start with how Lori was pre-Chad.
Okay.
So all the family and the friends say that Lori Vallow, who originated here, I believe, with her family, I think they live here.
I don't know. It sounds like they were all over the place.
They did, but they didn't live in Idaho. That was like the last, well, Hawaii was, but anyway, none of that matters. It just no, you're right, Utah.
Yeah, Utah.
It was Utah.
Okay.
She was raised in a very strong Mormon family with, normal brothers and sisters, and I think at a fairly young age, her one of her siblings, her sister, had died, and Lori kind of took on the mom role with the niece. What's the niece name? Melanie.
Melanie.
Okay, so let's not forget that little tidbit. So Melanie is the niece, and she is the daughter of the sister that has passed away.
Right.
But all through Lori growing up, she was very normal. She was a cheerleader. All her friends talk about how funny she was. She was very sweet and just normal, happy-go-lucky, kind of the entertainer of the group. And then as she ended up having kids, even people would talk about what a fantastic mother she was, how involved she was. She's the sweetest thing. She has been married 5 times.
Is it 5?
5 times. And the Charles, I believe, was the last husband, number 4.
Right.
And his family was even saying what a beautiful person she was, to the point where his sister had a grandson, and Lori and Charles adopted the grandson, who is JJ, one of the missing children.
Right.
But they wouldn't have done that if she was psycho crazy. She was a good, loving, amazing mom. So she grew up in a very normal, religious family. They said even when she was a kid, she went to religious classes. This in high school. She'd go to religious classes before she went to school. Like, how many kids are that dedicated and do those things.
Right.
So, I mean, she was very devout, like, I can't even express, like, the two different personalities are in this story.
Right.
With one person. It's crazy. So, anyway, she got married at a young age, because that's what a lot of Mormon families, that's what they do.
Yeah, that's normal.
And so she got married, and she had her first son, Ryan. No, is that his name?
Yeah, I think it's Ryan.
Colby.
Oh, yeah.
Colby, and their last name's Ryan. So
Okay.
she has Colby, and then she ends up having Tylee. Colby is...
Different dad.
Well,
right?
Colby and Tylee have the same dad, and then there's JJ.
Okay, because I was seeing Colby was from her second husband, but he has the third husband's last name.
Actually, I'm sorry. I put number 1, but I think it's husband number 2 is their dad. I think I wrote that correction back here somewhere. Yeah, I thought they were also from 2 different dads, but then as I researched further...
I thought it was...
I could be wrong.
I thought she was from husband number 3. The one that ends up passing
you're
away.
right. Joseph is Tylee's dad. Colby, the oldest son, is by number 2. I did write the correction.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I know not to argue with you. See, I'm catching on. Like, don't think you know it all. I knew I wrote a correction because when I was watching when I was researching, it gave me one thing, and then I watched the Dateline thing, and it said that.
Right.
So I was like, I'm going to go with that. Although some of the Dateline information was not what I researched.
Yeah, I think they hype things up a little.
Yeah, so whatever. Okay, so she has Colby from number 1, Tylee from number 2, and then JJ is adopted. So she goes through husband number 1. He's safe and sound as far as I know. Husband number 2, safe and sound. Husband number 3 mysteriously dies. Well, not so mysterious. I think he has a heart attack.
Yeah.
And husband number 4, obviously,
is killed by Lori's brother, Alex.
Let me tell you about Alex.
Right. Alex seems like Lori's soldier.
Yeah, he's the hitman.
Right.
He's the fixer, quote unquote.
Yeah.
I mean, he is.
No, I believe it.
He's a fixer. And here's the weird thing, everybody. Do you want to slip in right now about this? Well, we haven't introduced. Okay, let me introduce you to the husbands. How about that?
Yeah, let's talk about Charles.
Okay, so we have husband number 4 is Charles. He's dead. And then in comes husband number 5.
Right.
And that is Chad Daybell.
Okay, mind you, so Lori married husband number 4 in 2006.
Yeah.
And husband number 4 is shot and killed in 2018. And then within months, not even months,
She's with this guy.
She's with this guy. Yeah.
And then Daybell, so here's some of the conflict. I also researched that, so Chad Daybell was married to a woman named Tammy.
Right.
Tammy, my research showed me that she was also previously married before him, and her husband or husbands also mysteriously died. But then the Dateline thing.
I didn't run into that.
Yeah, I even wrote, but whatever. So they say on the Dateline thing, they were saying that they were married for like 20 years or something.
Oh, wow.
Or
her and the other guy, or him and...
Her and Chad.
Oh, yeah, her and Chad.
So
okay.
that's why I was like, well,
and
maybe
from what
she
it
got
sounds
married
like,
briefly.
Is that he was like the love of her life. Like he was
And mind you,
of his life.
Yes.
She was the love of his life.
They did everything together. They were also Mormon.
Right.
Devout. Mm-hmm. And Tammy ends up mysteriously dying at age, 39?
I don't remember the age, but she's not.
In October of 2019.
Right.
She ends up going to sleep and not waking up. And this is a perfectly healthy woman. She was actually training for like a 5K or something, some running race,
right.
marathon.
And just went to sleep and died.
Went to sleep and died. So the police go to that.
Right.
And it costs a lot to do an autopsy, so they don't.
They don't. They just pretty much pronounced it like as natural causes.
Usually,
no foul play, nothing.
No. And usually from my understanding, if somebody dies at home, I mean, even my sister who passed away at home, they do an autopsy. So this is really strange that they didn't do an autopsy on her.
Yeah, it is really weird.
And so
that was October, right?
Yeah, October 2019.
And when was Charles?
Charles was, hold on, I have that.
Okay, it was July 11th. So July 11th.
So, but get
last
this.
summer.
Yes.
Everything is transpiring within the last year.
Right.
Yes.
And then, okay, so she dies, they bury her, and then they have documentation, they meaning police,
right.
now have documentation via a reporter dug this up that like 17 days before Tammy's death,
the rings,
they shopped and bought wedding rings
on her dead husband's
on Charles'
Amazon account. That's just okay. Let's talk about Charles though.
Amazon. Okay, so now we go to Charles. Okay, so Charles is a pretty successful businessman doing financial investments or something like that. So she's like cha-ching, cha-ching. You know, she came from nothing and has worked her way up to
right. And by all accounts, it sounds like they were, like you were saying, that she was a devoted wife, devoted mother. And then out of nowhere, she starts doing this podcast with Chad at the beginning of last year, 2019.
Yes. She kind of like gets involved with this group and then starts doing this podcast. And that's kind of like what starts looping her in and getting her nutty.
Well, it almost sounds like she'd already kind of like...
She was already getting it. Because the podcast, she's selling it.
Yeah. It sounds like she'd read his books and that she's kind of like fangirling on him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's a true believer.
Yeah.
And so she starts doing the podcast, and then the switch was flipped. Everybody says it was like one day she's the Lori everybody knows, and then the next day she's like crazy.
Yeah, completely different person.
Yeah, like talking about doomsday and people having evil. Even in court documents, Charles had written that she said, was it Charles?
Yeah.
That wrote that she was claiming
she viewed herself as a god preparing for the second coming of Christ.
And that she was going to murder him because he was a zombie or evil or something.
He also claimed in these documents that his wife would kill him if he got in her way to perform that mission.
And she truly believes, even to this day, that's why she's walking around with a smirk on her face and her head held high, because she truly believes she is this goddess, and come July or whatever it is, that the world's going to end and her and 144,000 people are going to be.
I just think that's interesting, the whole 144,000 thing.
Where did they come up with that number?
Well, it's in Revelations, so that's also a number that JWs use, because I grew up in that. So like I was like, oh wow, I didn't know that was a thing for other religions too.
So I think you should talk about Chad Daybell and this cult, aka this doomsday religion.
I want to keep on going on Charles though, because he was just like, he was still in love with her. Like, even though they were going through, he files for this divorce.
Yeah.
And he's still in love with her. So the day that he dies, he's going to pick up JJ.
Yeah, but you don't want to talk about.
I do, but I
because that's so much of this that people won't understand what.
No,
we're
I think they'll get it.
All right, you go ahead, and I'll jump in. I want to know where you're going.
Okay, so Charles, he converts to being a Mormon.
Oh yeah,
when they get married, he was a Catholic before, but he loved Lori so much that he converts, and that's not an easy thing to do.
No.
So here they are. They've adopted his great nephew, basically, from his sister's grandchild, and JJ, and he has special needs.
Right. Oh yeah. He has autism.
Yeah. He's autistic. So and Lori's, like you said, she's like this wonderful doting mother, and she's taking care of her kids and whatever. And then bam.
And Colby says, like, this is the first husband that he really liked, that treats all the kids great, like they're his own, treats them with respect, treated her with respect, gave her the world.
Right.
She didn't have to do anything. He gave her the world.
Right.
So he was a really great guy.
Right.
So go, and then
so during these divorce proceedings, she takes $30,000 from their joint account. So
says in the documents, he tells in the court documents when he says that about her murdering.
Right.
He also states that she said she was going to clean out his bank account.
Right.
And she did.
Right.
She took out a big chunk, 25, 30,000. That's a lot of money.
Exactly. So he goes to pick up JJ. So they're already going through this whole divorce thing. He goes to pick up JJ and forgets that his phone's inside. He gets out of the car, goes to get his phone, and finds Lori scrolling through his phone. Oh, this is what she says, though.
Right.
This is what she says.
Right.
This is her explanation.
You guys need to go watch this body cam footage on YouTube. It's unbelievable. Like, you're just like, oh, all of it's bullshit. It's all bullshit. But go ahead. Oh my God.
So he goes back in there and, according to her, starts scrolling through her phone, and then a big old fight ensues. And
the daughter
goes to get a bat.
Tylee goes and gets a bat.
According to her, and Tylee,
but I think she was
coached.
I think she was taken around and told, you better tell this story.
So the brother, Alex, he gets into it with him, goes to his room, gets a gun, and shoots him.
But wait. Supposedly, Lori had left to take JJ to school. So this is where things, even with the cop, It was like, you're screwing up your story already.
Right.
Because he even said...
Like, that was what I wasn't clear on, is at what point? So they shoot,
he
shoots
him, and then they go?
And then
They
that's
didn't
the only
say
way.
That.
That's the only way it could have happened, because he went back in the house. An argument, a fight happens.
Well, this is what he said. He said, according to the brother, to Alex, while sitting on the curb, he said the fight started earlier because they were like, "Where'd the bat come in to play? How'd you get a bat? If you're just visiting, because this is not Alex's house, it's Lori's house, and." Alex is visiting. Let me put in.
Yeah.
Here's another weird thing.
And this is in Arizona.
It's in Chandler.
It's in Chandler, Arizona.
And Alex is visiting. He supposedly said he was visiting, but from Santan.
Right.
From here.
Right.
So even the cop was like,
"You're visiting.
So you're visiting, but you live in Santan. So what? You were just staying the night?
Yeah,
what's going on?
Yeah.
Why'd you bring your gun?" None of it makes sense. It's all planned. Anyway, also Charles had a rental because he was visiting from Houston, and when Lori. So they've got like 3 cars in the driveway. And why is she driving Charles's rental?
Right.
If they're in such an argument, why does she... I'm pissed at you. Go ahead, take my rental.
Yeah, you definitely have to watch the body cam footage. And I'll put a link so you guys can look at that. But you could also go watch the Dateline, because the Dateline episode, if you have access to that. Except for
they blur out their faces and they mute... her and Tylee.
Right.
But on YouTube, you can see it on YouTube.
Okay, then I'll use that. Okay, then I'll use that link.
So Alex says there was a fight earlier because once the cop is like, so the kids saw you shoot him? And she's like, he says, no. Oh, this happened earlier.
Where was JJ the whole time? Is still in the car? Because remember, he gets down.
This is another thing. Nope, that's another thing.
Because I wasn't clear on that. They said
she took him to school, supposedly where she was with Tylee, right?
Okay, but it's a Dos Equis kind of day.
It is.
It's getting hot.
Yeah. And then he says they kind of changed the story and say that he was at school this whole time, that he wasn't there. He was there at first,
that's not
and
what
then
I
they changed it.
Happened. I think
the kids were there the whole time, and I think they took JJ because JJ was probably freaking out, but they were able to control Tylee.
Right.
So they took JJ somewhere.
Or maybe they took Tylee and JJ and left him. I don't know. No.
So Alex is like a fight ensued.
I mean, the thing is that we're depending on what her version of events.
Oh, I'm saying what
fact.
Alex.
Yeah.
Because Alex's events, that's where the story got messed up in the beginning. Because then the cop said, "Where'd the bat come from?"
Right.
Well, there was a fight earlier. Tylee brought the bat out. She poked her dad. He grabbed the bat. So Charles grabbed the bat. Then somehow, this is where it gets messed up, because then he's like, then he started threatening me with it. And then the cop said, so wait, the kids were here? And then after you shot him, Lori took the kids to school?
Right.
And he's like, oh, no. He came back for his phone. He left and he came back for his phone, and they were gone because she took JJ to school. And then the fight started again between the two of them.
Right.
And then he said that supposedly Charles hit him in the back of the head with the bat.
Right.
Okay, here's another stupid
part. So here's another thing. His ex-wife attests to the fact that Charles didn't even have he was not an angry person. He wasn't easily provoked. She's like, not even like with other males. Like that he was never ever like physical or ever like angry with her.
He's a very calm. But here's the other thing. He's very athletic.
Right.
He's a big guy. And so if he's going to hit somebody, he's going to do some damage.
Right.
And Alex didn't have any.
That looked like he was just play acting. Like,
yeah, because he was blotting something, but there was no... Why didn't he have the fire department look at him?
Right.
I mean, if he got hit so hard that he was in fear for his life, he'd probably need paramedics.
Okay, so then there's this other thing where he admitted to one of Lori's friends that in her previous marriage that he had tased the husband.
Yes. Husband number 3.
Right.
He tased the husband, spent 90 days in jail because he got guilty on that one.
Right. And wanted to kill him.
Yeah. And
admitted wanting to kill him.
Yes. And then shortly after that, he dies of a heart attack. That's what I mean, the mysterious heart attack.
So remember that he died of a heart attack.
Yes. And then, so he gets hit with the bat, runs to his room, grabs his gun. Then the police officer says, so you had time to run to the room, get the gun, and then you went back out to confront him? Why didn't you stay in the room, shut the door, and call us?
Right, exactly.
Right there.
And poor Tylee's put in, like, I feel like her mom took her away, coached her on what to say. She came back, and even the detectives that were on the case basically said she sounded like it was rehearsed. Like the way she responded didn't sound like something that would naturally come out of somebody.
And for somebody who just, like, basically
she said something like, in retrospect, I shouldn't have went back and got the bat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, okay, here's my thing where I feel like he's Lori's soldier, and where I feel like something was up with Lori even before she met Chad Daybell. Like, this is like my theory, is the whole third husband thing. Something was going on already there. That's way before she met Chad.
Well, what happened to husband number 2? Okay, number 1...
Number 2 is still alive.
Number 2 is still alive, right?
Yeah, no, they don't know anything about number 1. They don't.
Number 1, that was too young. Yeah. Like, she was just young. And then number 2, that one is still alive, right? Because for some reason, I had put something about 3 husbands died. No,
I think it's just 2.
Only 2.
Yeah.
Okay, but so when the cop was like, you had time, why then? Because to me, that's not self-defense.
Right.
You went back out, which I've seen. I forget what I was watching. But they actually talked about it's not self-defense if you run out and confront. So, like, if somebody's in my front yard and they're coming up to my house and I open the front door and let them in, that's not self-defense because I just let them in. Does that make sense? But if they get aggressive with me, well, they're in my house. And then I can't run to safety, but the only way to take care of myself was to shoot them or whatever. That would be self-defense. Right. But if I can run to a room, lock myself in, and call the police...
This is why I don't understand why he wasn't arrested, because there was 2 different stories on that day. Yeah. On that day, there's 2 different... There's Alex's story, and then there's her story. Right. So I don't understand...
But even just the fact that he ran to a room, came back out, confronted him, and then is saying, well, he came at me with the bat, and then you shot him, that isn't even a fair fight. Right. A bat versus a gun. Right. Not a knife, not another gun. Right. A bat versus... Yeah. That's not even a
That's
fair
not
fight.
That's not
self-defense.
No.
I mean, I guess, like, if there's a big guy coming to me and I shot him, I'd be in fear of my life.
Right.
He doesn't have to have any weapon. That just was not... Why did
something
they
wasn't
not
clicking
question
there.
that?
Yeah.
Anyway, they didn't. And that was the story. So
it was
then,
July. Maybe it was hot. They all wanted to go home. I have no idea. It doesn't ring true with me that they didn't arrest him that day.
And then even the 911 call, which again, you can listen to the whole thing on the YouTube thing. And he's very deliberate in what he says. I just spit all over it. But he says, I just shot, and he's super calm. Mm-hmm. I just shot, I forget who he says he shot, but then he's like,
if he's dead, and he's like, I don't know.
Yeah, and would you want to go and check? No. And then he's like, I shot so and so or whoever in self-defense. He makes sure he says. Right. Tell me that's not like they had the whole thing so scripted.
So 2 things. One is the neighbor said that she had a big party that night.
But and then even her son said though, and I believe him. He's like he heard that people were saying that she had a pool party that night, and he's like, I was there. She didn't have a party.
Right. Well, but he also said that I just wanted to get out of there and leave. So who knows what time he
was
left?
there for an hour though.
Yeah, he was only there for an hour. So who knows what happened after he left?
I don't think she did.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
Well, if she did, that's weird.
I'm not sure anybody would go to her pool party.
Yeah, he was pretty upset too. Like he liked
him so much.
Yeah, I think he was upset. He was upset at the way things went down, and I think he was like genuinely like I think like he felt something that day. Yeah. You could tell like he was just like, I just wanted to get out of there and leave.
Yeah, because he knew they did it, and he's also that was like the only real father figure that he had.
Right. Okay, so that was Charles. That's what happens to Charles.
And then wait, before we talk to about another deceased.
Right. So this is mysterious death number 2, right?
Yeah.
At this point.
Because you talked about the wife.
No, we haven't really talked about the wife, but we'll get to her because
let's Charles, come back because there's more to that.
So Charles is this is July.
Oh
July
of 2000. We have the first husband that died, which is husband number 3, and then husband number 4.
Interestingly enough, that was 2018. So then we're in 2019.
So I honestly feel like she knew Chad and was getting involved in all this earlier than even everybody knows.
Okay.
Don't you?
Maybe. Yeah.
No,
that would kind of make sense.
Makes sense to me.
If indeed that death is part of this tracks with everything else, then yeah.
And also because of all the characters that have started also leaving their devout Mormon religion.
Well, should we talk about the niece?
I was going to talk about Alex.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about Alex.
Okay. So
Alex is the brother.
Is the brother who you refer to as the sergeant.
Right.
I refer to as the fixer hitman. Mm-hmm. So Alex, do you have the date? It was recent. December?
Yeah, it was
December 2019. December 2019, Alex. Wait a minute.
Yeah, there's on the 12th, December 12th, but...
There's another character. We do have to talk about the niece.
Yeah.
Because her husband... Okay, yeah. I'm sorry. Back up, everybody. You're right. I'm wrong. Calm down, Carlene. I'm so excited.
So, okay.
Melanie.
Let's talk about... So, right now they're in Arizona in this point of the story, but they go to Rexburg, Idaho directly after this happens. She takes JJ and all of them, packs them up, isn't it? Yeah, because it's... Oh, no. In September 3rd.
No, because she ends up in Rexburg. With just JJ, pretty much. I mean...
By the end of August, it says.
Yeah.
By the end of August. So July 11th. So by the end of August 2019.
I mean, she does take all of them, I guess. And then in September...
Moves them to Rexburg. So now we're in Idaho.
Wait, let's back up even more. Because the kids.
Right.
So... August they move. September, like 23rd or something, is the last time Tylee is ever... There's any documentation of anybody having
seen
anything
her
on her. I mean, they didn't even actually see her. They have a photo of her at Yosemite.
Right.
They took a family trip.
I think that was on the way, wasn't it? Like they stopped there on the
Well,
way?
it's only... not that far.
I don't remember. I'm not
It's only
clear on
like
that
an
part.
hour away or something.
Okay.
So, no, because they took a day trip.
Oh, okay.
So she's like, hey, let's take a day trip. And then they get there. And
that's the last time anybody's ever seen Tylee.
Yeah, and nobody actually... I don't know if they actually have witnesses, but the FBI have an actual photo, and Alex is in the photo, JJ.
Okay, so where did the FBI get the photo? Did they take the picture, or
no,
this
they
is
got
their
the photo from someone's
okay.
belongings?
Okay, probably. Off
anyway,
of
so
phones or something.
Yeah, I mean, somebody had the photo in their phone. I'm assuming. Yeah, Alex maybe.
Yeah, it could have been Alex because they went and got all his stuff.
Well, wait a minute. But then, okay, so hold on. So like September 23rd or whatever is the last time there's documentation that Tylee is alive and well, and they're at Yosemite. And then the only documentation that they have about JJ is
when she enrolls him
September,
in school.
October,
and
November, I
disenrolls
think.
him. No, that was actually September. No,
it was September also?
It was September.
Okay, so maybe
September
that's September
23rd. Yeah.
Okay, so yes, she goes to this school and says, I'm taking him out, I'm going to homeschool him.
And you know what's really weird is, like, I was looking at, because I was putting the timeline together, so she barely enrolled him on September 3rd.
Yeah.
She disenrolls him on December 23rd.
And says she's going to homeschool.
He's not even there a month.
Well,
not even a month.
Listen, she didn't have an intention of the kids sticking around. I don't think she even had an intention of taking them there. Maybe it was just like a, shit, now I have to.
Right.
Yeah. It's just weird because even,
Rexburg isn't Rexburg, that's where Chad's at?
Yes,
so
Chad is there.
Moved there to be closer to him.
She's there, yeah. And then her and Chad actually no, Chad was here. They both moved up to Rexburg into the townhouse, and then next door Chad
was here.
Yeah, and Alex
I don't
moved
think he
next
was
door.
Here.
Mm-hmm.
I think he might have been already. He was in Idaho this whole time.
I could be wrong, but they moved to the townhouse together, and Alex lived next door.
Oh, okay.
And then the only footage of JJ is the Ring photo video.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting how much Ring captures? Like they use Ring all the time for this stuff.
And then he disappears. And there's no JJ, no Tylee. And so then the grandparents, who are the, Larry and Kay.
Right.
They are trying to have some FaceTime with JJ, anything, because they start to get concerned because she's not answering the phone. Before she was, he wasn't available. There was no communication for weeks. Right. So they call Chandler police, as far as I know, and find out, I guess. No. I don't know how it all works out.
They just wanted a welfare check on him.
They did a knock and talk, but they end up going to Rexburg, doing the knock and talk, and it's, nothing's wrong, everything's fine, whatever. Yeah,
but he's not there.
He's not there.
Oh, didn't they say, like, he's with his grandparents? First they said
yes.
He's with his grandparents.
And then he's with a friend.
They're like, no, those are the people that sent us.
Yes, thank you for that.
And then they're like, no, he's with a friend in Arizona. So
that's
okay, so first it was Chad. Chad's like, no, he's with the grandparents. And then Lori pipes in, I don't know at what point, but she's like, no, he's with my friend in Arizona. They go check out the friend. No JJ. So then they come
back the next day,
and they're
with
gone.
SWAT,
and they're gone.
They took off and left like all of JJ's toys, even outside. All his like balls, little skate things, everything is left outside. So JJ's nowhere because all his shit got left behind too, and there is none of Tylee's stuff.
So that's in November. That's November
Okay.
November 26th. But way before November, we come back to the niece.
Yes. Okay. So go back to the niece now.
So the niece is.
Wait, I'm gonna have to crack this open.
I'm gonna let you do that.
Yeah, because it makes a lot of noise.
So the niece is Melanie Boudreau. So in June 2019, she ends up demanding a divorce from her husband, Brandon Boudreau. And then in September, actually it was in October 2nd, 2019, Brandon claims that he was shot
while driving, pulling into his driveway.
Right. And he
Somebody
thought it was, like a paintball gun. He said something about a paintball gun.
Yeah, at first he thought it looked like a paintball gun. gun, and then he realized, and he could describe the vehicle and all of that. And then he realizes it was a legitimate gun. And
sorry, guys, we're all over the place, but like this story is just so crazy.
Right.
And then, so the paintball gun. So don't forget about the paintball gun.
That was an interesting twist.
Yeah, so the vehicle.
It's like a Jeep or something.
Yeah, ends up being owned by Charles Vallow.
It did.
Yeah,
was it in Alex's name?
No. He recognizes that Charles Vallow's old,
who by the way
Jeep
is dead,
already passed away, killed, not passed away. Passed away would denote that he died peacefully in his sleep, and he did not. Yeah. And he recognized the vehicle, and the person that's driving that vehicle right now happens to be Alex at this point. So that was weird. So Melanie, the niece, obviously her ex-husband becomes a target somehow.
Well, because he becomes a problem.
Right. Not just a problem, but we'll get into the whole religious part of it, like the whole weird culty.
Well, he's a zombie.
He's a zombie.
Yes.
He's got demons. He's something.
Zombie.
He's possessed.
Oh, well, I can't wait for you guys to hear all about that. Alma's going to cover most of that because I'm.
All right. So anyways, yeah, the Jeep's registered to Charles Vallow. Same day, Lori Vallow purchases wedding rings. Lori purchases the wedding. That's the same exact day she purchases the wedding rings on Amazon that they end up using.
Oh, that day.
That day.
Oh, can I just let you all know that they're basically living off of this, all these dead spouses.
Right.
And then I think, Charles was very smart and put his life insurance policy into his sister's name.
Yeah.
Because he was like, if anything happens to me, you're going to get JJ and you're going to need money to take care of him. And it's $1 million policy. And so Lori didn't get any of that.
Yep. And she was pissed. She was pissed off. She shoots off a text message to the sister and it's like, how many kids to raise, and all the money goes to the sister. She's pissed. Yes.
She was like, that money should go to the kids.
Viper.
But,
coming back at her.
Crazy. And then when Tammy died, because a lot of people are like, how do they afford these attorneys for her? And I mean, it's not very apparent that they're really working at this point. And so the wife for Chad had an almost $500,000 policy.
So let's talk about her. So October 9th. So
this is Tammy Daybell.
Yeah, this is Tammy Daybell. So that was October 2nd that Brandon gets shot at.
Yeah.
October 9th.
Oh, yes.
It's not even several days apart. She calls 911 and says that a masked man shot at her with a paintball gun. And then she goes on to put a Facebook post and saying that, no idea what the motive was. And then 10 days later, October 19th.
She described the same car.
Oh, yeah. And the paintball
vehicle.
gun.
Remember and the paintball gun.
The paintball gun. Which is weird. So anyways, she dies in her sleep. Which we were talking about earlier.
That didn't work, so they found another way.
And they said her death was, they ruled it as natural, like you were talking about earlier.
But now with all of these little coincidences, they did exhume her body.
Yeah, but that doesn't happen until a little bit later. Yeah. So then on October 19th, so October 9th she gets shot at. October 19th she dies in her sleep. October 22nd she's buried. October 25th, a friend of Tylee receives a text from her saying, "Hi, miss you guys, love ya." You hear about that?
Yes, and then, because the police, yes.
So what do you think that is? Do you think that's fake?
Yeah, and they also said that's the older brother, Colby, said that's exactly his mom's wording. Because she would even talk just like that, text to him. Like, oh, she can't talk right now.
So she's just trying to give, proof of life in some way, shape, or form.
And then they
throw them off the trail.
They found her cell phone and everything on the mom's, in the mom's
Was
possession.
that in the storage, the 10x10 storage that they were going in and out of?
Sure,
Which is
exactly.
Really weird. Did you see the footage?
That looked like a body they were carrying in a bag.
Yeah.
Yes.
When was that? That was October 1st. That's when they rent the storage, the 10x2.
Like a body in that bag.
So everything's happening in October. So October 1st they rent the storage, and then October Then in this, there's footage like the what do you call it? The footage from the
storage facility.
Seeing people going in and out of there, and it's Alex. It ends up being Alex.
Of course.
Carrying these big heavy things in and out of there. And when they finally get like access to the storage, it's the kids' stuff. A lot of the kids, like their possessions, like stuff that no mom would ever get rid of.
Right.
You know? Like it's just really weird.
Yeah, I'm not sure where they found the phone and a tablet, I believe. Basically everything a 17-year-old would never not have on their possession. I mean, I know you have children that were 17 and had phones. My kids slept with their phones like cuddled up to it like it was their partner. So
mind you, we are now in May of 2020 and she's maintaining that they're still safe and alive somewhere, but there has been no Facebook, nothing
Nobody
from
has
this teenage
seen,
girl.
And there is posters and news segments and everything everywhere like have you seen? And by the way, I meant to do this. I meant to, maybe we could put a number up just in case if anybody knows anything. I mean, this is in Arizona.
Right. If
anybody knows anything, sees these kids by chance, if they are alive, that we have a number posted.
Yes.
That we can like, and honestly, you call Crime Stop. You can call. I think the Crime Stop number was like 262. It's really easy. It's like a 262-2626. I'll look it up.
Okay.
But honestly, you can call the Chandler Police and I'm sure FBI.
Or the Rexburg Police Department.
Yeah, the Rexburg Police. But anyway, if you do happen to see these kids that I'm sure we'll have pictures of, that you please report it. But as of now, nobody has even reported a sighting of these kids.
Right.
So yeah. Oh. Can I? Well, no, wait. Are we going to talk about Alex?
Let's just talk about this really quick.
Oh, you're talking about
because on
Melanie?
the timeline.
Yeah.
So October 22nd, Tammy Daybell's buried. And then on November 5th, how many days later, Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell are married in Hawaii.
They're married. And then go back to Melanie, too.
Right. Oh, she marries this other guy.
Like right away, who is also a member of this. We're going to call it a cult because that's what it is. She marries
Ian.
Okay, so
yeah.
Husband
so Melanie,
number 2.
Melanie marries Ian Pawlowski.
Wait, Melanie moves to Rexburg.
Right.
Because she didn't live there originally. Because now
she's part of this cult.
Now she's a part of the cult because Lori brings her in. Mm-hmm. And then, because again, Lori's been like a mother figure. They're very close. And when the kids were little, Melanie lived or stayed with Lori and like watched the kids and stuff. So she kind of like, then the kids were under her wing. So they kind of they're very close. And then Lori, it was just so weird. It's just a weird thing. But anyway, she then becomes a part of the cult and then, get rid of that husband.
I don't remember the date, but they're in Las Vegas at some point.
Yeah, it's like 2 weeks after getting like this divorce is done and over. Yeah. Melanie has marries, an attempt on his life, and then she's marrying.
Yeah, so she's marrying this
Ian
guy.
She only knew him for 2 weeks.
Yeah, that was a thing. Yeah. And then so she's marrying Ian, but at the same time, while they're in Las Vegas, Alex also marries this other chick, Paloma something,
who belongs to the cult.
Right. So, and she has some special powers too.
Oh yes, that's right. Because she can like
control weather or something.
Yeah, she can control.
Yes. Okay, guys. So this shit's gonna get fucking batty. Okay, just prepare yourself. This shit's gonna. If you have not read or heard anything about this story, this shit is gonna get fucking nutty.
Yeah.
If it isn't already nutty it's like it's going to get nuttier.
Which,
full of nuts.
I wonder if Alex, something happened there. Like, I don't know, maybe he wised up and decided he had enough. Maybe having the kids, like the kid thing, maybe he eliminated the kids and he couldn't take it anymore and wanted out.
Right.
And then they were like, Gotta get rid of Alex now.
Right.
Are we at that part yet?
I think we are.
So YouTube has that 911 call on there, and it is so frustrating.
Okay, so then we were talking about his wife.
Yeah.
And you said about her being exhumed. December 11th, investigators exhumed Tammy Daybell's body to perform an autopsy in Utah. And that stuff is still pending, or it's probably not for our ears yet. And then on December 12th, Alex Cox, the brother of Lori Daybell, dies under mysterious circumstances in Gilbert, Arizona.
I mean, they could be getting worried that, because he's the eliminator, so they're like, well, if we get rid of that, he can't talk. They can't get any information.
Exactly. Because they're already in the hot seat at this point. Like, the police are on to them. The police are like, okay, shit is...
They're starting to putting all the pieces together now.
Exactly.
And everything they thought they got away with is all starting to come. Anyway, Alex is the 911 call. His wife, her 25-year-old son is in the house.
With him.
Oh my God. You would think he's 10. And he calls and he's like, I have a man here. His name is Alex and he's not breathing.
Not my
He's
mom's
passed out."
husband. Like, no. That's a weird, that was weird to me. Like, my mom's husband, something's wrong with him.
There was no panic in his voice either. Like, shit, Alex,
kind of almost the same thing as with Lori when Charles, like that calm.
Even with Alex, when Charles, you killed a man and you're not upset about it. There's police officers who are trained. It's your life or theirs. And if they shoot somebody, they're hyperventilating, freaking out. Right. And you just killed somebody and it's not even like, well, he came at me with a bat. Right. And then this guy's just, the operator says, okay, well, can you turn him over? Well, he's got feces all over him. It's gross. And she's like, I know it's gross. Okay. Can you do you think, listen, he needs CPR. Can you lay him flat and start CPR? And then he doesn't answer for the longest time. I was ready to leap through the phone. Right. The phone. Leap through the TV when I was watching it. And anyway, it's very frustrating. And it's, again, it seems very fishy. And then you hear the mom come in. And it starts to sound a little more authentic. Like she truly is panicked. Because you can hear her. Did you hear it?
No, I didn't hear that.
You can hear her in the background, and it does sound like she's trying to give CPR or something. And then but she gets there just as that makes sense. Yeah. She gets there exact same time as the paramedics or whatever. So of course she's going to put on a show. Right. Anyway, Alex is dead mysteriously. Dead. Nobody knows. Dead.
Right. Dead.
Nobody knows what happened. Yeah. Unless you have
Alex,
more information.
who killed Charles.
Shot at.
Brandon Boudreaux and possibly Chad Daybell's wife, Tammy. And tased Lori's third husband.
Probably killed her third husband.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, it's just speculation, but it's kind of weird. All the bodies are piling up here. Yeah. All the bodies are piling up. And we have two missing children.
And so now he's gone, and they finally go and so they go to look for the kids, and then that's when Lori and Chad take off to Hawaii, and it's almost like your kids are gone and you're in Hawaii.
They're not cooperating in any way, shape, or form.
She will not. They have asked where are the kids. She will not say one word. Right. She is tight-lipped, not even making something up. Right. I sent him to summer camp.
So I think in December, finally, after Alex, the case they finally go nationwide and make it an official missing persons case for the kids, and that's when all the stuff really starts to
Had those grandparents not called in concern about JJ, we wouldn't know any of this is going on.
Yeah, they were pretty persistent. They're like, no,
and all these deaths would just continue to happen, and nobody would be wise to it, which floors me. I'm not a trained I get that they have red tape and things to answer to.
They have processes. That's not that I get that.
That's not that difficult. I've seen people with less get interrogated
or arrested.
And put in jail for longer. And that warranted it.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. It's just crazy. And actually, the way they found Lori was because of Dateline, I believe.
I think so, because they were, that
and
first
one. It was
one.
2 days after the Dateline thing. And then they found her and served her with the warrant. And then it was like the courts were, tell us where the kids are or you're in contempt.
This is what I found interesting. On January 10th, 2020, so at the beginning of this year, just a few months ago, Chad Daybell's brother makes a plea for him to cooperate with the investigation, stating immediate family had little association with the author due to concerns with his religious claims, particular books he published, including his own. And then January 25th is when the Kauai Police Department serves Lori Daybell with a notice that she must produce JJ and Tylee to the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare in 5 days, which she does not.
She does not. Then they're like, tell us where they are. She does not. And then it's like they keep giving her chance after chance, and she just doesn't say anything. Finally, they're like, all right, okay, now we're bringing you in. Right. And then they finally put a $10 million bond.
But that's on her.
Or $5 million. Sorry, $5 million.
That's on her. But Chad Daybell is still out there. He hasn't been arrested yet.
Well,
not yet.
That we know of since as of the Dateline special.
Well, no, I was looking it up the other day.
Oh, he wasn't yet?
Yeah. Okay. I was like, because I wanted to see what was the most current thing.
Well, because last night, or Friday, when they showed the Dateline thing, they said that he was... What they had that warrant or that they must have gotten something from the wife's body,
right? Because
they now have him and her, and then they have murder, conspiracy to murder, and something else, aggravated something, I don't know, but those are the charges that they're going after both of them with,
right?
So I was so happy to see that.
Yeah, me too.
Now we just gotta wait for it to be served.
All right. So in the meantime, I don't know at what point they like recruited Ian Pawlowski, which is Melanie's new husband, to spy on Melanie and try to get information. The FBI. Well, it was the FBI and the police department.
Yeah,
so
and the police.
So, he's wired up and everything. So, like, whenever he gets a phone call or he's privy to a conversation, he's, like, trying to... So, he documents all this stuff. And if you watch the Dateline episode, you see, like, him sitting side by side with Melanie.
It is the weirdest. You guys need to go and watch it. It is the weirdest. The two of them talking, like, she's very, like, no expression, just very, like she's being interrogated, but she's been trained to
what to say
and how to say it, like, just don't have any, and just like, what, they were doing this, what's wrong with that, and da-da-da, but no sarcasm, no like tone in her voice. It's just, what I'm saying? It was weird. And even the connection between the two of them, you could tell it is a very, like...
Well, I think they're still practically newlyweds, like, if you think about it. And at some point, he finally confesses to her that he's been
recording everything.
Yeah. And then she, like, is hurt, whatever, and she basically fills him in on everything supposedly that she knows. I'm still kind of on the fence of, what she's privy to and what she's not privy to.
Listen, I think she knows it all. I think she knows where the kids are. I think she knows everything that's happened. I think she's like Lori's right-hand person and protector.
You think so?
Yeah, like Alex is in here. But I mean, as far as like Lori needs somebody to confide in or be her buddy or manipulate or whatever it is, it's that girl.
I don't know. I kind of feel like she tells her stuff up to a point and that she's not privy to everything. Like, I think she knows, and especially from these documents that I'm going to read you, I'm just going to read a little excerpts out of this, but I feel like she knows that Lori's filled her in to a point. Like, I think she knows enough to know that the kids are not alive. I think she knows enough to know that Alex was the hitman. I think, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You be the judge. I'm going to read you this stuff. So she definitely knows something. All right. So I'm going to get into the weird shit here.
Yeah, I don't
we
know
mentioned
any of
we mentioned the whole cult thing. So Chad has this whole line of books. He's got this podcast. They're like part of this prepper.
The group woke. That's the name of it.
Yeah, that made me laugh.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Woke. The preparing the people. Woke and preparing the people.
Right.
That's what it's called.
That's the podcast? Or
That's
is that
the name of their group. That's like the religion.
So fucking weird. Okay.
Weird.
So it's like basically a very divergent form of Mormonism. Like I wouldn't even call it Mormonism.
No,
like
I
it's
wouldn't
like,
put it in the same category.
but that's what they're labeling it as.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely has Mormonism as a base, but it is definitely like
not even close.
Out there. Out there. All right.
To me, like we talked about, it's more Scientology, if anything, because it talks so much about like the hierarchy of, what did that say?
So let's just talk about the zombies, human bodies that have
That's
had
not
their.
Scientology.
It's
by
not.
The way.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
They believe in zombies.
Yeah, I don't want to insult.
But it's a very different kind of zombie than you're picturing in your head right now. Human bodies that have had their original spirits forced from them have been possessed by either a demon, original third of the heaven. So this is Ian's. Ian has taken notes. Somehow these notes get in the possession of the FBI or the police department, or like I'm not quite sure who, but we have access to them. And I'll send you a link. It's off of the East Idaho News. They have their huge watermark all over everything.
The zombies.
All right, the zombies. So by either a demon, original third of the heavenly host who followed Lucifer, disembodied spirit, once living human spirits who have chosen not to be reborn into another probation. I'm not really clear what this whole probation thing is, or a worm slug, creature controlled by Lucifer that enters the body to control the host. Okay, if this starts sounding like a science fiction movie, like it's
pretty much.
Yeah.
And it sounds like to me what they're saying is devil takes over or sins, like it's the worm,
right,
or the zombie is possessing the human form, which that soul no longer exists.
Right.
So the soul that lived in that host no longer exists.
Right. So and then they talk about like so probations, multiple probations. You have a minimum of 3 lives to become exalted, but more to become gods. Okay. And remember, Lori is a god. Uh-huh. After 2 mortal lives, you can choose to sign a light contract or a dark contract.
Okay.
Choosing light or dark isn't permanent. You can choose not to be reborn if you are satisfied with your progress, which is bizarre. And this is all Ian's understanding of the belief system, so he's kind of just writing notes here. Veil grows thinner each time you are reborn. So, like, what you have access to, the veil between this world. That's what I'm guessing what they mean by veil. Multiple, I could be wrong. Multiple ceilings possible, I think this has something to do with Mormonism, because I know there's some, from talking to some of my Mormon friends, like I recognize some of the belief systems. Multiple ceilings possible, but males can choose. Of course they can. They can always choose, right? They can choose one true spouse or have many.
Of course.
And then translation is translated beings cannot die, cannot reproduce, do not need sleep or food, and do not feel the sorrow of the world. Injury is, I'm sorry guys, it's the way it printed out was really light. Injury is possible, but healing is accelerated and it's never fatal. Okay. And also translation is done in multiple phases, tests, usually lasting 3 days. Upon completing the phase, the Lord appears to the translated. Okay.
You know what? Hold on. This just goes to what everything I teach.
Right.
And try and teach people that come to see me, and try to tell all of you when I'm on this is, I once had Somebody kept telling me every time she'd come to see me, she'd be like, Carlene, you need to write a book. More people will come and see you. And I'm like, I'm not going to write a book just so people will come and see me. If I'm going to write a book, I'm going to write it so I have something important to say.
Right.
And she would say, well, so-and-so over here has written books and she makes a lot of money and people will come to see her all the time. Like, I want people to come to see me because they value what I can give them.
Right.
And that they know I'm legitimate and it's all word of mouth that people come to see me. But I try and tell her, just like I tell everybody else, just because you write a book doesn't mean you're legitimate. Just because you can speak to thousands and thousands of people, that means you're a good salesperson. Right. You're a good entertainer.
Let's talk about, did you see the part where the friends that used to know him, like, were like exalting him or whatever, Chad Daybell, talking about that he had this moment, I don't know, where he was in the water or whatever, like, and that he had this vision.
Well, they said this is what started his journey.
Right, okay.
He had near-death experiences, like 2 of them or something. And when he had these near-death experiences, that's when
the veil opened up to him.
Yeah, something told him what he was doing. Let me just say, I had my near-death experience, and they were just telling me that I was going to be okay, and I had important things to do.
Right.
They weren't telling me I had to start a religion.
Right.
And that, you know,
this is fascinating to me, you know, like the whole cult thing, because like how easily people are led.
People
that are looking for something.
Yes, they're looking, even if you're
Jim Jones,
Christian, going to church,
Scientology,
Catholic, Jehovah, whatever it is, anybody. Even what I do, there's people that are so
David
hungry
Koresh.
for something. Yes. That's the thing. Like, why I try and teach people to, like, a lot of times I'm telling people you're searching for something, because they'll tell me to say you're searching for something and it's right in front of you. You're searching because everything you need is right here. It's right in front of you. If you're searching so hard to belong to something or find meaning in something, it's because something is lost in you.
Right.
And so you're not going to find it in a religion.
Right.
You're not going to find it in alcohol or drugs.
Right.
You have to find it in you.
Right. And the thing is that, you know, as in my experience, as you're getting older, you're learning new things every day.
Yeah.
Nobody has all the answers. Like, if somebody's proclaiming that they have all the answers to something, they're lying. They don't. Nope. If they are proclaiming that they have this access to God, okay, we all have access to God.
Everybody does.
We all have access to higher power, and that's just their interpretation of what if they're feeding you something and they're telling you that they are the only access, the only door
I am the God, and I am the one who can lead you to righteousness.
That's bullshit.
It is bullshit. And that's another thing I try and teach people. Like, every single one of us is intuitive, but how intuitive we are might be different.
And we don't always
I'm more
have the right
intuitive
answers.
than you might
like,
be.
One day you wake up and you're like, oh, this is what this is. And tomorrow you get like more clarity on, you're just like, oh, I was wrong yesterday. I was wrong yesterday. That's not what it is. You know what I mean?
Another thing, you know this, I always tell people, I call him God. But I don't tell anybody else what to call him. But even my children, because that's a journey you have to go on. And as you go through things and as you grow and you learn things, you kind of are led to that. It's faith, and that is your connection, your personal relationship to whatever you want to call it. And sometimes I'll tell people, call him Santa Claus for all I care. But just have some faith in something greater than you. So that
if somebody's telling you that you have to cut off your whole family and cut off all your friends, that's a fucking red flag there.
There's no God. There's no God that will tell you to kill somebody that will tell you to get rid of your children. There's no God that will shun you for doing anything, for running outside of your crowd.
So that was my little soapbox moment. Like,
Yeah.
that just, sorry. That's
No.
one of my pet peeves.
Because
But it's
that's
also
a lot of
fascinating to me that people are so easily led.
Well, it's fascinating to me that they read these verses in the Bible and how twisted
You can twist.
they can make them.
You can interpret. So many things are so open to interpretation.
But it's not them. It's their leaders. So how do they believe that there's a God to believe in when they just read he's unconditional love and loves all his children, and then they shun their own children?
And I never think it's like the fault of the people that are following. Like, I'm just always fascinated that they're so easily led. But I don't think it's their fault because they're misled. Because I just feel like, so many people are just searching for something.
Well, and if you're born into that,
right,
that's all you know. Right. So of course, and a lot of it is so fear-based. So if you do this, well, I don't want to end up in hell, burned by fire.
Well, and then there's also the cult of personality, which is something that we're dealing with right now.
Right. So anyway, just find yourself. You don't have to find it in a religion. Your religion is a community of people and like-minded individuals that you're going to want to share that faith with. But your faith starts with you.
Right. And if you feel like something's weird or wrong or whatever,
get out. Go ahead.
All right. So, let's get back to Ian's notes here. All right. I'm just going to jump ahead. Sorry. This is just like, because he just like takes all these really notes on this. Yeah, it's really complicated. So we talked about the zombies. There's also teleportation. When translated beings are needed, they may, with the Lord's permission, teleport to the necessary location to perform their assigned duties. Remember that one. Dark and light portals. Physical objects all around us have ties to the spiritual world and can open portals, gateways. This is where the shit starts to get really fucking sci-fi. Of both light and darkness, through which light and dark entities may pass. That seems pretty generic to me. Okay. Church of the Firstborn and the 144,000. The Church of the Firstborn is a higher organization and God's church in the truest form on earth. The mysteries of God are revealed to those who have become part of it. This is his understanding. Terrestrial blessings and locations begin to be revealed to members. Doctrines add to but do not replace those of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which is why I say this is the base. Right. And then the prophet of the Mormon Church presides over the general congregation, while others are called specifically to run the church of the Firstborn. All right, so that's enough of that.
So are they saying that they're secondary to the Mormon Church, or that they're...
It kind of sounds like that, yeah. No, that they're secondary. Dark church and priesthood. Satan is God's exact opposite. Duh. Lucifer has a body, was once an apostle and fell. Okay. And Cain was the first dark being to be translated in the creation and walks the earth with 50 dark... Okay, there's this 50 dark translated beings. Okay, so just remember that there's only 50 dark translated beings. Okay. To prevent delay the Lord's coming. Spiritual gifts and powers. People can manipulate the elements to do the Lord's will, which this chick that Alex ends up marrying, she's a manipulator of the elements.
Right.
To bring to pass the signs of his second coming. And if you can imagine it, it's real. Which sounds like wizardry to me. Like rules to wizardry. Like if you think it and you can name it, you make it happen.
I mean, I teach that. if you, it's law of attraction.
Well, yeah, there's that. But
believe it, you can retrieve it.
If I imagine a glass of vodka in front of me.
Oh, that you can make it appear?
Can I make it appear? Because that would be pretty great.
Yeah.
That can be pretty great.
I mean, is that what they are talking about? Or are they talking about the law of attraction?
No, it kind of sounds like they're like, if you imagine it, you can make it happen. Well,
to me, that's making it sound like a law of attraction.
Okay. Every fantastic idea is a reality somewhere. magic,
Hmm.
wizards, sorcerers, witches, etc. Spells, curses in Harry Potter are real.
What?
And require great focus, will to use. What the fuck?
Well, so there's a lot of religions that won't let their, like a lot of people that won't let their kids even see Harry Potter, Pokemon, any of that stuff.
Have I ever told you that my mom, when Isaiah was little and she was babysitting him and he brought home Harry Potter from the library, she wouldn't let him bring it in the house. There was a dog food bin right outside the door and he had to put it in there.
Stop.
I kid you not.
I mean, they think it's real. There are
Right.
some that think it's real, obviously.
There's supernatural creatures, dragons, giants, fairies, centaurs, etc. Spiritual.
People that do what I do believe that. They believe all of that you're saying.
This
I
this
don't know.
makes it feel like Dungeons and Dragons.
I don't know, maybe,
this
because a
makes
lot
it
of the
feel
people
very,
that talk, that do what I do,
Uh-huh.
they make it sound just like that. And I'm like, yeah, no. No, not my, that's not what I'm taught by my
You don't
people,
believe in
but
dragons?
I do, well,
I believe in dragons.
I mean, I don't know what goes on in other
I'm
worlds.
just
I don't want to tell anybody what to believe, but that's not what I'm taught.
You know, it's fun in stories. It's fun in stories. Like, it's fun in imagination. But, you know, like, I don't know. Like, this just makes it all very, like...
That makes it dirty because we know what's happened because of that.
Right. Spiritual weapons, dark and light weapons, weapons that cannot be...
Wiccan does that same thing. Wiccan is the very same premise of that.
Is it really? Because I've never really, like, you know,
A lot
studied
of
anything Wiccan.
I mean, the elements.
Which it fascinates me, but I've never, like, really, like, gotten delved into it.
Yeah, and a lot of people think
And
it's
it all
dark
sounds-
magic, but
it's
it's
not.
not. Sorry to interrupt you, but I just had to throw that in there because that's what it sounds like they're doing here. It sounds like they're taking Mormonism, is that the word? Being Mormon, then they're
Dungeons
taking...
and Dragons, Harry
Yeah.
Potter,
Well, it sounds like they're
Wiccan.
taking, like, the Wiccan, because the Wiccan, that has to do with the elements and
Right.
stuff. Even
I
what
get
I
that.
do has to do with being grateful to the certain elements in the north, south, east, west. You know, when I do certain, if I was doing a binding ceremony, I would bring in gratitude to the certain elements and directions or whatever. But, okay, so it sounds like they're kind of a mesh posh of...
But you don't get Storm from the X-Men and you can,
No,
like,
I mean,
make it rain in a certain part of the world
mean,
or like
no.
have seismic occurrences somewhere. Like, you don't feel like you can just, like, touch the
No,
ground.
but maybe there are some that do that. Like, even there's dark magic. I had a guy come to my door one time and I had to tell him, you need to stop doing whatever it is you're doing, because he was like messing with some dark stuff, but he was calling himself Wiccan. I'm like, that's not a Wiccan. You are messing with black magic. And so I think they are kind of a mesh posh of like religion and then all this other new age kind of stuff. And then
Yeah,
it's
it sounds
bringing,
like,
like-
it's very, like, new agey, like,
but it sounds so dirty because of the dirty things that they do with it. It's just like being an Amish and then finding out that they shunned half their family because they ate pork, or I don't know if Amish eat pork. I'm making that up, but you know what I'm saying.
Right.
Because they like drove in a car,
right.
and then all their kids got shunned because they drove in a car, and then you're like, well, shit, Amish people are crazy. But are they really? They're just living their truth.
So then he begins to document his conversations with Melanie. So there he was just
This
outlining.
is what I want to know.
This is it. So when Melanie began sharing all of these things with me, I tried to keep an open mind. I'd only met her 4 days previous, but felt very comfortable around her. I believe there is more to the gospel than what I have seen so far. The idea seemed harmless at first. She sounded pretty certain of some of them. She talked about how she learned some of these things in the temple and others from Chad and Lori.
Okay.
Specifically.
Crazy.
Upon first meeting Chad and Lori, I didn't get a bad impression of them, but they did seem different. I didn't think anything of that as I feel like that's a fairly normal feeling I experience. I didn't give them much thought as they were planning that I'd be taking the reins concerning care of Melanie. They said that they'd be going to Hawaii and invited me to come along. Later, Melanie explained porting, the
like teleporting?
Yeah, and that they could travel there by that method. However, they took a plane.
Oh.
Like the rest of us.
I would have liked to see the teleporting part.
The first time hearing all of these beliefs was a jolt. I was looking for someone spiritual, but this was a leap beyond that. Yes. That info concerning territory had fears and doubts, but I trusted Melanie and wanted to give a fair chance.
You know what? They're both very good looking people.
Right.
But I think he was a little mesmerized by her beauty.
Absolutely.
She's
I think
very
so.
cute.
I think he still is.
Yeah.
Okay. This was interesting. He says, between the stats, accounts, and dark and light weapons and words spoken in blessings, it sounded like someone had created a tabletop RPG-based Bible. While something like that appealed to me, I couldn't find anything to confirm it as I prayed and asked. I figured anyone called to something like this would struggle, but now how else would they be made aware of things like this? I continued to try and keep an open mind and proceeded with caution. So he's trying to process all this, and then at the same time he's like,
it's a little weird.
Yeah, everything is a little weird, far-fetched to me.
His caution radar was on target, but his penis radar was not.
Exactly. The pussy was strong.
Yeah.
Melanie began to share that she feared for the lives of the two children based on her two children, based on a dream that she had where they came to her. So that concerned him about her kids. Like, he started to feel very protective about the husband.
I have that she had 2, but then I have
that she had 5.
That said she had 4. I saw there was in the picture she had 4.
Yeah. Huh.
Those dogs sound like somebody's dying.
Yeah, they're in their kennels right now, and they're not very happy. Can we talk about the fact that, other than this, that when Chad Daybell and what's her name, Lori, got married, that he was saying that she didn't have any children?
Yeah. Oh my God. So to all his family,
right?
They were saying, well, first to some of the friends and family, they were saying that she had grown children. And then also stating to other parts of the family and friends that she didn't have any.
Right.
That's so fucked up. So they already had it planned that they were getting rid of the kids.
Exactly.
Like, she was coming.
She'd moved on with her life.
Yes.
Like, whatever, which is totally fucked up to me.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I understand that JJ was not her biological child, but Tylee was.
But
either way, it's
she's
fucked.
had JJ since he was an infant.
Yeah.
So technically, I mean...
And like footage that they had of her on Dateline where she was just like happy-go-lucky. They were going to the beach. Yeah. They were like...
All
and at this point,
cute.
the kids are already out of the picture. We can hope that maybe there's
We can hope.
Okay, all right. So this is where she says, we married faster than any couple would, but felt that it was right on our wedding night. She begins to elaborate on the ideas she shared earlier about her children coming to her. She explained zombies and her fears about what Chad and Lori stated concerning the original spirits being caught in limbo until the body's death. She stated that Brandon had been possessed by a demon. So this is her ex-husband. Oh my God! I swear nobody's tied in the basement in my house. Those are the puppies. They are not happy about being in the crate. All right, a little bit more on this. She was told either through revelation or by Chad that something would happen to him or needed to happen to him in order for his spirit to progress and for the Lord's plan to continue. This is talking about Brandon, her ex-husband. She didn't take well to the idea that her husband... So they were saying that he was possessed by a couple of demons. She didn't take well to the fact that her ex-husband dying as part of the Lord's plan, but didn't think action would be taken by anyone.
They meaning Chad
or Alex.
Basically.
Alex, yeah.
Or Alex.
Probably. That's
Lori.
That's my take on it. Yeah.
They're all saying this.
And she's saying that she still loves Brandon and she never wished ill on him. So this is, at this point, this is what becomes concerning to Ian. She shares with him the idea that Chad and Lori could have directed Al, meaning Alex, to take a shot at Brandon. It wasn't anything she was sure about. The concern began when she was called to the Gilbert PD and asked about Chad, Lori, and Alex after the attempt on Brandon's life. She later was given the impression that the bullet needed to move 5 inches so as not to hit Brandon. To him, it sounded like Chad was the person that gave that information. Okay, so this is where that was interesting, but this is more interesting. The discussion moved to Chad and Lori's missing children. You know, the missing children that Chad claims to other people that Lori did not have. At that time, only JJ was counted as missing, and the Rexburg PD had conducted raids on Melanie's apartment along with Alex. Melanie had been told by Chad and Lori that their children had been possessed and had become zombies. She shared concerns that she's been told Brandon needed to die, and that may indicate that the Tylee and JJ needed to die as well. She told me that she was worried that Al may have had to take care of the kids. She explained that Al had great faith, Al being Alex, and never wavered in his trust of the Lord. No task would be too difficult or too great for him. When I asked for clarification, she restated her concern verbatim.
Well, there you go. I'm telling you. I think Alex did do it, and I think like possibly he started to question after killing his niece and nephew that it did start to weigh on him, and then that's when they were like, we got to take care of Alex.
Yeah.
Or with the body being exhumed, they had to take care of him because things are going to link to him, and maybe they think like getting rid of Alex would get rid of some incriminating evidence.
I'm trying to find the part. Sorry, like the font on this is so small, and so I'm like trying to squint through it. But anyways, I was telling you about the 50. Was it demons walking the earth, or the 50? Right. Well, the 2 FBI agents that happened to be conducting the investigation were
they
named
part of it?
Yes, they are one of the 250. Amazingly,
of course they are.
So it's pretty long. I'll probably put a link to this because it's you need to read it for yourself. There's a lot more that he really goes into detail about, but I mean, I think that right there was pretty damning.
Pretty damning. Clearly it wasn't enough.
At that time.
I guess.
I wonder if the fly buzzing through this room is translating to this microphone.
I mean, I did get something. That's why I took off my headphones. But
it's kind of driving me crazy.
It is driving me crazy. So I just want to put a couple things out there. Well, we're talking about religion. We're not condemning
absolutely not.
any religion.
Right.
Be the religion of Santa Claus, but we're not condemning it or judging anybody. You can believe what you want, but this one is loopy and crazy, and I'll judge you and make fun of you for belonging to it.
Along with Branch Davidians
But you know, we were talking about the different religions, and I don't want anybody to think that we are criticizing or judging or one's better than the other. They're all wrong. I believe what I believe, and I truly keep it to myself unless you're a client and I'm supposed to share it with you.
Right.
And be like, I believe this is what I call them, and I don't tell you what to call it. I don't tell my kids what to call it. You can call them Santa Claus for all I care. You know
even
that.
Yeah. And even like being raised the way I was and feeling the way I feel about that, like I still feel like I'm not a religious person, and I probably said this I don't know how many times on this podcast. I'm not a religious person, but I am a spiritual person, and I do believe in a higher being, and that higher being to me is God. But to other people it's different. So, but I wouldn't pass that judgment on to Like I respect Mormons, I respect Catholics, I respect
who
Christians.
are we? Yeah. What do we know? Well,
I might have a little cynicism towards people that take advantage of people's good-hearted nature and their actual belief system.
About.
Yeah, that's my cynicism is people in the hierarchy of religious systems that take advantage of people.
Yes. And that's 100% right down to people that do what I do and prey on people's vulnerabilities and grief.
Right.
And then right up to
politicians.
The Vatican and politicians and yes, right on. So, and also the other one, just remember, it's no different than there's the FDLS. Is that it? DLS? There's Mormons that believe in
LDS?
No, there's the Mormons that believe
fundamental.
And multiple wives and all of that. And then there's the Mormon church that doesn't really like being affiliated to like what was that guy's name? Jeffries. Yeah. Anyway, that don't like to be affiliated, but they're Mormons. And then there's Mormons that, go to church just like a Catholic and everybody else and practice very innocently and have their beliefs. And then there's these people who try and relate themselves to being Mormon and then they add all this crazy stuff into it. So we're not saying that this is a Mormon religion because I'm sure Mormons would be like, don't associate us with that shit.
Exactly.
So I just want to make those things clear.
Distinctions.
Yeah,
absolutely. So here we are with Lori is actually in custody.
Yeah.
She's had what did you say? It was 10 million. 10 million and
5 million. And then they had a reduction bond thing where they had the mask. Anyway, I was trying to watch it and it cut off. Mm-hmm. But they actually showed it on Dateline maybe? I don't know. But anyway, I got to see the final. They did not reduce her bail. They reduced it once to $1 million. Mm-hmm. And now it has not been reduced. It is $1 million bail. And then I think they're trying to figure out how to get that, but it's
and difficult. Hopefully we find out here soon something that happens with Chad Daybell and
then they
finding out about his wife and
warrants.
if something comes back from the toxicology from her exhumation, I don't know. Yeah. Find out. But I think it's pretty suspicious that Alex, I think he was offed.
Oh, I'm sure of it. And come on, that's a little too many natural deaths
and
suspicious.
the first husband that passed away or
the heart attack
had a heart attack, he was cremated. So there's no way they can exhume him. So
yep, you're right. Yeah. Crazy shit, man.
Fucking crazy shit. Zombies.
Crazy shit. Zombies. Are you a zombie?
Are you a zombie?
I could be.
How many demons do you have inside you?
I mean, some people I don't know. Ask my dad.
Let me ask the demon on my shoulder.
I talk to dead people. Some people would say.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. This stuff is like way out there, though.
It is way out there. But, the bottom line is, if it feels wrong, it's wrong. If it feels right, it's right. I mean, if you have to search that hard for something, call Carlene.
I think a lot of people are just looking for something, though. I think that's just the thing. A lot of people are just searching for something. Like, they feel like an empty space in their life, and they're searching for those answers. And these people like this guy, they prey on them. Yeah, they just totally take advantage of them. Like, look at Jim Jones. He got a whole bunch of people to drink some Kool-Aid with cyanide in it. I mean, they freaking drink Kool-Aid.
Did you watch the David Koresh movie?
No, not yet. But I watched one before, but I haven't watched this new one that's out there.
No, this one gives you a whole nother. It'll make you mad, but not in the way you think.
Really? Okay, I'm going to have to watch
it. It changes everything. It's insane. It's something we could talk about another time.
Okay. We're definitely going to revisit this because obviously, things aren't settled. And
it's a developing story.
It's still developing, so we're going to come back to you guys with more information on this sometime in the future, and then I'll let you guys hear what Carlene had to say about it, like her her instincts about it.
Every time we say something, I get chills.
Yeah.
So. All right, we'll see. Does Carlene know her shit?
All right, you guys. I guess that's our show for tonight. I know we don't have our ghosty story tonight, but this was a lot of information.
We covered zombies.
Yeah, we covered zombies.
I watched the fourth kind today before I came over here.
Oh my gosh, that's a crazy.
So good. I can't believe it gives you like real clips.
It's not real.
Yeah.
It's not real.
It's not?
It's not.
What is it?
It's not real.
It's not real? How do you know?
Because I like researched it after. I'm like, is this real?
Oh, it's not?
No.
Okay. Oh, that was freaking me out. Me and Aiden's like, Mom, it gives you real. And I'm like,
okay,
that's insane.
They take real stuff because that person's a real person,
Yeah.
but they kind of like, they embellished a lot of stuff. So.
But that's not real footage? The real footage that they use is real footage? Is it
Some
real
of it.
footage?
Some of it is. Yes. Some of it is. It's pretty freaky.
It is. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
It's like, is that the real footage or is that fake footage? Because they do have their filmed footage.
Right.
But they say that. But
Yeah.
I want to know if that, like the cop car footage, if that doesn't look very real. But
yeah, there's a lot of fake stuff interspersed with what's real. So it's like, yeah, just look it up. You'll see the real stuff.
I'm gonna look it up. But it's crazy. That's scary. There's a reason why I never watched it, but now I watched it.
I had to look it up right away. Like, I'm Googling stuff as I'm watching movies all the time.
Yeah,
like, is
I don't
this
watch,
real?
I don't watch enough stuff like that to care.
Yeah. No,
I definitely look up, like, who is Uhtred? Because he's cute. And then I act like I'm going to meet him one day and he's single and he's going to want to go out with me.
You know, maybe like
He's
Outlander, you could go through the stones and meet Uhtred.
Oh, I mean, he's young enough to be my son.
He's freaking hot.
He
No,
is
he's
hot.
not. He's hot. Yeah.
He's a hottie,
like you,
hottie,
I
McTottie.
pretty much went through that in a day as I was sitting here doing
I couldn't
accounting
stop.
stuff.
And now I'm watching Murderci. Have you
Medici?
watched it?
Medici?
Yeah. Have you watched it?
Mm-mm.
It's on Netflix. I watched it, the season 3.
There's a lot of
And
good
the
stuff
guy-
on Netflix
The guy
right
that's
now.
on there is pretty cute too.
I've watched
Not like Uhtred.
Hentified.
Huh?
It's spelled with a G, but it's pronounced Hentified. It's
Okay.
like it's on Netflix. We started watching that and it was so good. Like we went through that whole thing.
Okay.
Definitely recommend that.
Okay.
Of course, I watched The
The
Last
Vikings.
Kingdom.
Do you watch the Vikings?
Oh yeah.
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 That's coming like May 6th or something.
Yeah.
Next season. So excited.
Yeah.
That'll be watched in a day.
What else have
Or
we
2.
watched?
All right. Yeah. What else?
I'm trying to think. I can't even think of, like, there's a bunch of good stuff. Oh, we've been watching Vida, but I think that's on Stars. And
I watched all of Pretty Little Lies. Do you watch that one?
oh, is that good?
So
No,
good.
my friend Lorraine,
You need to watch it.
she told me to watch that.
So good.
Lorraine.
Like, I couldn't stop.
What?
Oh, no. I was thinking, remember we were trying to remember a name out there?
Oh yeah. I was gonna tell you, like, as I'm reading all this stuff. Did you ever watch the movie Frailty?
I don't know.
It's with Matthew McConaughey and Bill Paxton.
I
Okay,
don't know.
so the premise of it is like this father, like he's married, has 2 boys, and one day like an angel comes down. He has this vision, and they pretty much tell him, you know, like this angel's gonna come and tell you who to kill, and you have to have faith in the Lord. These people are possessed by demons. So like as I'm reading this, I'm like, oh my God, this sounds like this movie I watched. I had to look it up.
I wonder if that's where they got this. And he wrote all these books.
Oh my God, it's so
Off of a
weird.
movie.
Yeah, I was gonna like name some of the books, but I don't want to give him any kind of
No.
like-
That was one of the dilemmas with Tiffany suggested this. I was like, damn, I don't want to give her any acknowledgement, credit. I don't want to talk about this story. But
Right.
then it's like, how
Right.
can you not? Good job, Tiff.
Yeah, thanks Tiffany. Again, thank you.
Super happy she
so
said
much.
Because I got so into it that I'm really glad that we didn't record, because I needed to like decompress from all this. All the research, all the videos.
Right.
It's crazy.
It is crazy. It was
Anyway.
crazy. Definitely thank you, Tiffany, because that was a rabbit hole that
Yeah.
I've gone down this last week and a half.
Yeah. Thank you for getting me into something that was consuming my
Yeah.
life.
Well, okay. All right. I think that's going to be it for tonight. This has
Back to
been
our ghostly and
our regularly scheduled program on the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, everybody that's been listening. Like, definitely our numbers are going up. So thank you for anybody that's recommending to a friend.
Yeah.
We appreciate it so much. We appreciate you guys. Hope you guys are all doing well.
We'll get back to our tipsy selves.
Yeah.
On the next one.
Although we did drink a little beer. But
we did, but you can't get goofy when you're talking about something like this.
Yeah, exactly. So. Anyways, this has been Tipsy Tales. I'm Alma.
I'm Carlene.
Good night. Hey guys, thanks for listening to this episode of Tipsy Tales. Music by Jesse Bisqueta, artwork by Sergio Hernandez. And if you're listening on iTunes, please don't forget to rate and review. Thanks.